Okay, so I made this video to go over the new updates to the moving average ribbon master strategy, and there's been a couple of big ones. I just have three main topics here that are going to be interesting for traders using this strategy. On the back end, this entire strategy was updated to PineScript version 5. That was tedious because there's a lot of conversion things that have to be done in order to make it work. Um, the master stop underneath the price is yellow dots. I can go over that right now. So in the background, I have Ether Tether, and the long stop, if you hover over it, is showing me that the moving average time frame is actually minute 5, so 5 minute. And that's what these moving averages are here. You can turn these on, you can turn these off. But in reality, this strategy is a Ferrari. I mean, it's drawing from 4 time frames to get accurate trade signals and doing a lot of magic under the hood and only showing you a couple of things here underneath the trade parameters that you can play with in order to manipulate the strategy to the look and feel the way that you want it. Everything else is really just trade handling. So none of these things really affect um, the overall outcome of the strategy. This is just more your preference for your tolerance or how you actually want to trade as far as number of contracts or the type of risk that you want to take, percent risk, percent of equity, which is just basically leverage, VIX multiplier, which I went over in previous videos. But it's very condensed at this point to make it so that the end user, you, does not have to play around with a whole bunch of settings that you need to optimize in order to make this strategy super profitable. Okay, just back to what this master stop means. Underneath the price, when a first long or first short happens, is when the building icon, the building phase, you can see this inside of the style. If you go down to where it says building, I believe, let's see, trade building. The colors for this are bright green by default for a long, bright red for a um, short, or cyan for a long, or pink for a short. And the bright green is basically a first long, meaning that it is the very first long in the positive direction. So that usually means that every trade right before it was a short, and this is the very first long. First longs and first shorts on any reversion based strategy, which are usually the most popular type of strategies, meaning that you're buying into a pullback or you're shorting into a pullback, um, inside a quote, I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, dominant trend. Now, to actually quantify a dominant trend, that's a huge question in and of itself that a lot of people will not actually get into the details, either because they don't know or they're keeping it secret. Mostly that they just don't know. To actually define the trend in mathematical terms is somewhat of a difficult task, but some people do things like, simple moving average. One moving average is over the other. That's the dominant trend. So this is the first long in the new trend direction. And when that happens, you get these yellow dots underneath that are just a secondary stop beside the first stop. The first stop is with the first trade here. As soon as the target gets hit, this thing starts to actually come behind the price to see if you can actually hold out for um, slightly better exit. Some traders use this to exit half, maybe at the first target, and then hold the rest while this stop is still active. And once you're stopped out, you get a little X here. What I like to do is I like to use this master stop underneath the price, and I like to take half profit at this first target on this first long only. Only the first longs will give you these target twos and sometimes a target 3, and I'll go over that in a second also. This yellow stop is running underneath the price, and you could have held this entire time for Ether, as long as this stop is underneath the price and doesn't intersect the price, and it never goes down; it just only goes up. So this is really useful, especially for crypto, that I have found. Not so much for other instruments that have more volatility and don't really like to quote trend for a very long period of time. But this is good for getting into those big movements that you don't want to miss out on. And the first profit is always just a safety precaution because you just want to get to break even as quickly as possible. As soon as this was trade was filled, the stop moved up. It moved up to this little line over here. Let me take the volume off for a second. This little guy right here, this little number that says about 1180, specified that when half the first long short trade quantity is closed, meaning right here at this first target, the stop will move up to this point. Updating the stop to this value result in a break even trade. So what does that mean? That means that if you close half of the trade at this value, the yellow dots will actually move up, and in real time what you would see is you would see this little stop guy with the horizontal line actually move up to the right position. And that means that if you close half here, the stop moved up an equal distance half below your entry price. So that if you got stopped out immediately after this partial fill happened at half of your position, the net trade would just be a break even trade. You closed half at this target, and the other half was the same distance between the entry price and this target below the entry price. So that's good, because we know that no matter what, if as soon as we close the trade with half, we are automatically at a break-even trade. You can just sit back and relax and let the stop follow the price, knowing that no matter what, you're going to get a break-even trade at a minimum. Um, the first long and first trades also have these target two and target three values. The target two is set by your, let's see here. Target two is actually an algorithmic trade. And the target three, if we do something like this here, where we do 0.5 maybe and see what this actually produces, I think that the target three is way up there, or maybe it's well beyond. I don't know. Let me see what this actually is saying. Let's up our equity to, let's do percent risk here, and let's say that we're willing to do, let's just do scalps only, and let's say that we're willing to do a 1%. Let's just do this as 250,000. If you have a smaller account, you can just set the rounding to a lower value here to actually get the quantity that you would want for crypto, especially. 1 millionth of a Bitcoin is a bit. That's usually the minimum that you can actually trade for most exchanges. Many exchanges, I think, like Bybit, allow you to trade in 1,000ths intervals of Bitcoin. But let's set it to percent risk, and I'm willing to risk 1% per trade for this type, and I'm rounding to the nearest tenth of an ether. So for this particular case here, it's saying that my reward is 0.47. I'm right underneath it. That was as low as I could go. And I'm risking 439.1. So if I risked 439.2, I would go over that 0.47 risk tolerance. So this first target, this second target is telling me to hold. If I hold half, I can get to 0.5. Let's put this up to 1 for the runner target. Let's say 2% here, because I'm willing to risk 1%. Let's do 2%. We're going to get a target 3 here, I believe, after this reloads. And I'll explain what this is actually doing. So target 3. This is way up here. Let's go a little bit lower, maybe to 1.5. See what that does. That'll drop this down. I'm going to explain what this actually means in a second here. Reload. It takes a second. There's a lot going on underneath the hood. Okay, so first close at this value if you close half. If you hover over the target 2, it says some information about it. It says closing half the trade at the first target, that's this one, where it got intersected right here at this number 1. And half at the second target will increase the net gain from 0.47 to 0.82%. So you hold half and you close half here. The stop comes underneath the master stop, the yellow stop comes underneath the price. If you wait and close the second half at this secondary trade, where it says S, a large S here, that's right where the price intersected this, you would have increased your net gain from 0.47% to 0.82%. That's good. So, but we can go even further. The target 3 says, let's close half at the first target, half again at the second target, and then the final half at the third target. So let's say you started, it says that you're starting with 439. So we're going to close 439 divided by 2. We'll close 219 at the first target right here when it gets at. We'll close divided by 2 again, 109 at this location, and the last 109 at this location. This value times 4 equals my original amount that I actually had. So I closed half here, a quarter here because it's half of what I have left, and then and then the other fourth up here. If I do this, I increase the net gain from 0.47 to 1.5%. That's what's actually happening here. So again, close half here at this exit right here. This actual target is actually from this trade right here. Close half here, close a fourth here at this secondary target. If I do it according to this tooltip, I close the other half here and I just gain 0.82%. I'm out. But if I close a fourth here and then the last fourth up here, I can increase my gain up to that 1.5% that I set in the settings earlier. That's where I came up with this number. So this is useful um, for back testing in case you really want to hold part of the trade, but you don't want to hold the whole thing because you want to take some profit along the way. It's basically a tiered exit approach, and this is how professionals really trade for any asset class, really anything that's any equity class or crypto. What it doesn't even matter what you're trading. This is really a smart way to trade because you're not holding the entire trade, which is greedy. You're actually taking some off along the way to assure profit along the way, but doing it in a smart way is the key. Um, so um, that's basically that about what is actually happening there. Now, for first long and first short trades, this is really simple. There's a new filter here where we only take the first longs and the first short trades. If I click this on, the executions for subsequent trades, which are for longs, the cyan target building, and for shorts, the pink target building. Those actually will not publish. You'll still get the building symbol here. You'll still get a building alert and the alert firing for if we do an add alert here and we do the long building or short building, you'll still get these firing because that's what's actually happening. But you will not see um, the actual trade execute. The only trade that you'll actually see execute are these first longs and shorts, which are the most valuable. Everything else is still running under the hood. It's just not executing those pyramid trades that are above and beyond the first long, first short trades. And last here, full automation ready for third-party providers. My favorite is actually Alertitron. I've used it for a while. I've used it since the developer guy on Telegram that I've talked to in the past created it. I like it. There's a lot of filtering options for the commands that you use for the text alerts that you send via webhook out of TradingView. There's a lot of other filters that you can do, like ask your broker if you're already in a trade, and if you are, don't execute a trade, or count how many pyramids you're doing, or count the alert, or do certain activities with certain alert IDs. There's a huge amount of logic that's built into the interface layers, especially for crypto exchanges, that I find very useful, that are actually not even available in TradingView. It's above and beyond. But the basic alerts that we have here and I'm going to turn this back on. The basic alerts that we have here for this, we have the original alerts. If you go to add alert and you see these extra alerts here, first long, first short building, or long building or short building. These are really basic. Just do the this the close value. It'll give you the close value, and it'll give you the stop value, and that's fine. Um, but the action and the current stop, but that's just neither here nor there. That's more just alerting you, the user, that a trade is prepping and possibly getting ready to execute. The interesting ones are these any alert function call where I'm going to specify what you actually do here for the automation alert. So you create one of these, and then you use your actual your webhook URL that you actually need to use for this guy here. Fill out your actual webhook URL. Fill out any other actions that you want to actually do here. And this is not really necessary. You can call this whatever. You can say, my something like this. And this is executing for 5-minute trades, as I talked about earlier. When you hover over the stop, it gives you some additional meta information. Um, what you actually need to do here is, once you actually create this, create the webhook, and then create the alert. This is, and any extras that you actually want, whether or not you want more additional features, or you just want to leave this off and run in the background without giving you pop-ups and sounds and all that kind of stuff. Go into this indicator in the settings. Scroll down till you get to the end here. Purposely put this at the end so it's not taking up a huge amount of space. Go to the automation section, and this is where you need to fill out all of the alerts that you want. So the big one is the actual execution, and each one of these has a variable amount of quote special values that are wrapped in double brackets. These values are replaced by their real value in real time when the alert actually fires. So whether or not you're getting the alert fire as a pop-up in TradingView, or something that happens on your phone, as when you, because you can execute the alert and have it also, and one of the extra options that you have for the alert, you can actually have it pop up on your phone as well, which is basically the app. It says show on app or show on the app, which is iPhone or Android. Um, these special values like double bracket side, quantity, close, target 1, 2, and 3 that I went over before just now. Targets 2 and 3 only pertain to the first long and first short. If it is not a first long and first short, it is just replaced by NA for not applicable. The current stop. This is all the information that you need to know in order to execute the trade. The quantity is dictated by everything that you place up here. So the percent risk, if you're doing a swing trade and a scalp trade, swing trades are only the first long and first short. That's only executed back here when you're executing the very first long. This guy right here is that swing trade. So the total amount of units, contracts, whatever, are going to be executed on that first trade. This includes the scalp trade, because part of this trade is a scalp trade. The other trade is the swing trade. So you have to take that into account when you're actually executing this. It's going to add up the entire quantity that's specified by all of your parameters up there for your risk tolerance or your trading style, with whether or not you're doing percent risk or contract or percent equity, which is also known as leverage. Doesn't matter. The target, whatever the current target is, target 1, 2, and 3 for a first long and short, those will be specified when this executes. Execution alert is executed on the close of the candle on purpose, because it needs to wait for the end of the candle to verify that it's actually going to trigger a trade. Side is just replaced by buy or sell, depending on the direction of the actual trade. As far as the rest of the alerts, this is more trade management. So whenever the stop is updated, the side is always replaced with buy or sell, and the new stop is published. So when you're dealing with your third-party exchange. I mentioned three commas, Alertitron, Profit View, Auto View, all those guys. These special values are replaced at the execution time of the actual alert. Um, on depending on what your exchange is or your third-party service provider that I mentioned before. These two alerts here are executed on the candle close only. The execution alert text and the update alert text or the trade stop update are only executed on the candle close, and that's on purpose because while the candle is actually in the process of ending, this can fire multiple times because it goes in and out of being an actual valid long or valid up stop update, valid short, whatever during the course of a candle. So it needs to confirm on the candle close that it's actually a valid signal. These other guys, the trade stopped out and the target hit are executed as soon as they occur, only once per bar. The target hit is just the and a long it is actually the maximum value of a target filled for a given candle. Sometimes you might have multiple targets filled on a single candle. This happens if you have just like a very fast movement and all targets are close to each other, or really doesn't matter, they could be far apart, but you have some type of burst volume or large candle that fills multiple targets in a single candle. This will make sure that only the highest target is published in a long, and the lowest target is published in a short, so you're not confused about what's actually happening here. For those people that only want to use maybe just the long execution, what you do here is you follow um, the tooltip information and just delete the text for the alerts that you don't want to fire. So if you're only interested in getting these trade executions, let's say that you're not really doing automated trading here, you actually just want these trade executions, you can tailor these special characters or special values however you want. You can change the sentence structure for these this is just a template, but later on you might have to do something. If you're dealing with your exchange, you might have to wrap everything in a big JSON object brackets for the actual object so that it's actually the right syntax. Or if you're just interested in alerts to your phone or to TradingView for a pop up, or if you're sending it to Telegram or Discord or something like that, you might just reformat the way that this information is being displayed. These are just your special use words that are at your disposal. These are all the special words that you have for a given alert. But you don't have to use these for webhooks for automated trading. You can definitely use this for your own interests, for anything that you want. They just realize that these special words will be replaced um, with the right values when the execution actually occurs. Okay, that's about it for the updates. As far as a bonus that I have for people, make sure to incorporate the candle plot MTF if you actually feel like it, to get a cleaner look. I mentioned before that the long stop or the short stop, if you hover over it, shows you a little bit of the meta information about the symbol that you're dealing with. In this case, it's saying that the MA time frame is a minute five, so 5 minute time frame. If you go and take a look at my candle plot MTF indicator that's underneath my scripts page, it's free, it's open source. If you add this and set it to a 5 minute time frame here, just like what the stop said, these are 5 minute moving averages over the top of these blue moving averages, blue and white moving averages. If I set this to 5 minute and either go into the settings and just change the bar color to something like transparent or something like that, we can do this and change the background bar color to transparent. Or what I like to do is go to make sure you set this to bars, go to the style tab and go underneath where it's showing the bar color. I like to take off, I like to put the bar color as transparent for every candle that's not an execution candle. So these two guys right here. The only colors that are showing up are the execution candles, bright green and bright red. And you can see them right here as these little guys that are showing up as the actual candle where the execution occurred. Otherwise, everything else is hidden. And I like doing this because now instead of having a whole bunch of 5-second candles, I have 5-minute candles overlaid. And just, peek into the script for more information about what all of these different colors of the candles actually mean. But I find this to be a lot cleaner. I find it to look a lot better when I'm actually trading. So I hope you appreciate these updates. Please ask me in TradingView or preferably Telegram. Both have the same handles if you have any questions. All right. Thank you for watching. Good luck.